Did you know that fear, stress, and worry are detrimental to both our mental and physical health? When we worry, our body actually acts as if what we're worrying about is real. Let's think about that. Our body actually acts as if what we are worried about is real. So if we look at this in the context of the virus, if we're worried about getting the virus, and we worry about this multiple times, and we're worried about it every day, our body is eventually going to act as if we have the virus, and we're going to make ourselves sick. We're bombarded by scary and negative information, and yes, it is a scary time right now. There's uncertainty that we're not used to. There are things going on, and if we focus on that, we're going to be miserable, we're going to be depressed. So it's really important that we shift our focus to thoughts of health, peace, and hope versus thoughts of worry. And to give you an example of why this is so important and what happens if we just live in our worry, there's a story that I've read a couple times. It's a true story. So it's this man who worked on a railroad, and the guys left early that night to celebrate a foreman's birthday. This man got locked inside a refrigerated boxcar. He was pounding his fists on the doors until they were bloody, calling for help. Of course, no one came to help him because no one was there. He found a knife, and he scratched into the floor of the boxcar for his family to read what happened to him. He was healthy, he had a family, but the man was a worrier, just in general. So he scratched into the floor. It's so cold, I'm freezing, these are probably the last words I'm gonna write. And the next morning, when the railroad workers came to work, they opened the boxcar and they found him dead inside the boxcar. The autopsy showed that he had frozen to death. He had died from hypothermia. The interesting thing, and the reason why it's so important to guard your thoughts, and for all of us to focus on, the thoughts of health, hope, and peace versus thoughts of worry, is that the boxcar, the refrigeration system in the boxcar was not even operational. It was 55 degrees in there. He would not have frozen to death if he hadn't thought that he was freezing to death and have focused on that. So I'm going to share with you 3 ways that you can shift your focus to be happier and have a better frame of mind. And these are things that we should all be practicing. These are actually Dale Carnegie principles that I learned in the Dale Carnegie class that I took. So the first thought, or first practice, is to count our blessings instead of our troubles. So gratitude. When we are grateful for things, it shifts our focus. And it's actually impossible to feel grateful and stressed, or grateful and worried at the same time. A practice that I've read in the past and that I've implemented for years, which is it just really makes a difference, is to frame your day with gratitude. So you start out first thing in the morning. Ideally, you do it before you even get out of bed. You do it before you look at your phone. You do it before you check the New York Times to see what's going on with the virus. First thing before you get out of bed is you write down 5 things that you're grateful for. So when we do this, we're shifting what we're focusing on. So we write down 5 things that we're grateful for. If we just absolutely can't find the time to write them down, say 5 things we're grateful for. Or think 5 things we're grateful for if someone's going to think you're crazy for saying them. 5 things that we're grateful for. And at the very end of the day, right before we go to sleep, we write down 5 things that went well that day. Now, we might have a horrible day. Just might not be a good day. We might be like, there's nothing to be grateful for in this day. On those days, write down, I was breathing all day long. My house is still standing, or I still have a car. I still have a family. I have 10 fingers, and I have 10 toes. We can always come up with 5 things to be grateful for, no matter what is going on, or 5 things that went well that day, no matter what is going on. The second thing is to live in day-tight compartments. And what this means is to really focus on the present. So of course we still want to plan for the future. We want to save money. We want to plan vacations, plan fun things that we're going to do. But what happens is when we spend our time worrying about the future, and right now there's a lot of uncertainty, so it's really easy to get caught up in worrying about the future. It creates anxiety. When we spend time worrying about the past, maybe things that we weren't able to do because, the current situation, things that got canceled or whatever, that creates depression. So one is anxiety, the other is depression. Neither one is good. When we focus on the present, we're living. We're focusing on the people that are in front of us, or if we live by ourselves, we're focusing on what we can do instead of what we can't do. We're focusing on maybe doing some projects that we can't normally do, or getting to read, or whatever we love to do. So live in day-tight compartments and just make the most of the day that we have. The third thing is to create happiness for others. So we have a tendency when bad things are going on or scary things to kind of go inward and really focus on feeling sorry for ourselves maybe, or what's bad in our life, what we don't get to do, things like that. It gets us totally out of our heads when we focus on other people. So think about, who do we know that maybe could use a phone call right now? Or maybe we could do like in the olden days and write a letter to someone, and they'd be really excited to receive our letter. Maybe we can do a Zoom conference with somebody who we'd love to be with. That's what my family is doing, actually. We've been Zoom conferencing instead of getting together because we are trying to keep each other safe. So have a Zoom conference with the people that you would love to be with. It's not the same exactly, but it's still pretty darn close, and it makes everybody feel good. So do something for someone else, even if you don't feel like doing it. We have to get out of ourselves and do things for other people, and that completely changes what we focus on, and it completely changes how we feel. When we just get out of ourselves, focus on others, it makes us feel good too. So it's good for everyone all around. Now, all 3 of those things will be really, really helpful, but if you're like, no way, I'm not doing all of those things, I would recommend focusing on one thing, gratitude. If you have to focus on one thing, gratitude. It's huge. Frame your day. Start with 5 things in the morning and with 5 things at night. Try that practice for a week and let me know what a difference it makes in your life, because it will make a huge difference in your life to focus on gratitude. It just gets us out of our worry, gets us out of our head. And when we shift our focus from worry to focusing on what's good in the world, we will experience lots of peace, health, and hope, and be happier for ourselves and for those around us.